Begin topic polymorphism. Mirror images. Begin quote. Tu hi mohi, mohi tu hi. Antar kaisa, antar kaisa. Start note. You, me, you. Where is the difference? End note. Guru Ramdas, the fourth Guru of Khalsa religion. End quote. Wife Aditi. I fight with my husband for no real reasons. It is as if that with time our differences kept driving a deeper wedge between us. So much so that he prefers staying late at office than deal with the constant cold energy in the house. The distance between us seems now just too wide for us to be able to bridge within this lifetime. And yet, this statement cannot be true, as the memento of our love, my son's face, lies a mirror image of my husband for me to cherish, minus the entropy of misunderstandings that come over time. The great reverser. Every time when my heart misses the then Akash from the happy courtship days, I play with our son instead, as he's another form of you, O dear husband of mine. When I see these similarities, all the love energies in me find their nourishment just the same way, if not even more. Similarly, extrapolating this thought at a universal level, when I see your characteristics in someone else, like someone with your name, someone with similar handwriting as yours, someone with similar eyes like yours, makes me have tender feelings reflexively towards them, like some mirror images of you, which makes me wonder if to love my husband for his pure thoughts is the same as loving everything that is pure, is same as loving the one above who is the purest of all. With this thought, I now feel freed from the bondage of what's yours and what's mine. As Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru of Khalsa religion, said when he was informed about the death of all 4 of his sons who died fighting for protecting their freedom of choice, he said something that someone who is very spiritually aware could say that. चार मोए तो क्या हुआ, जीवत कई हजार. Start note. So what if all my blood 4 sons have died? Thousands of other fighting for the same cause who are still alive give me same happiness as my own sons did. End note. These thoughts make her kiss her son sitting next to her, engrossed in playing with his army man toy. On receiving this sudden attack of affection, he bends his head, feeling shy, as he wonders once again, why do mothers have to be so unpredictable? End topic. Begin. Topic: clay modeling. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभंग गुर प्रसाद जप. One God, Ik Om, true name, Sat Nam. The doer is the eternal, Karta Purak. Without fear, Nirbhav, without hate, Nirvair, timeless image, Akal Murat, never born, never died, Ajuni, self-existent. Sebhang, Guru's blessings, Gur Prasad, worship, jap. Mool mantra, start note, meaning core mantra in English. End note, Guru Granth Sahib. Who are we? The complete signature of a lustful moment shared by two bodies, giving rise to an altogether new, unique product. This genius product does not just capture all the ancestral history of the two participants, but also reveals many of the secret energies related with passion, which were dominant in exploring new lands and sowing new seed, will yield some juicy fruits. Once this product comes into existence, the parents often get too busy with other social obligations that we forget to take a moment of gratitude to marvel at the unparalleled precision which has gone behind this creation. And when the parents find themselves marveling over their creation, they often tend to forget the smaller miracles of orchestrating the meeting of the right people at the right time and with the right energies, which happen to create a bigger miracle in the form of a child. Since the mind of a child takes in all information with the knowledge of consequences, Father Akash realizes the importance of exposing them to the Vedic literature. This way, a person brought up with these principles can make the right choices. Since Vedic literature is not a part of the school syllabus the parents take upon themselves to ensure that they know the value in staying true to the godliness to them always. End topic. Begin topic. Victoria's Secret. In one of Father Akash's secret sneak checks of his daughter's room, his eyes sparkle on seeing his efforts rewarded upon stumbling on a romantic Victoria's Secret novel hidden carefully under a pile of newspapers. Confronting her directly will do no good, as then she will become more cautious and might start destroying all evidence. So now the problem has shifted from keeping his secret a secret to confront the secret without the secret owner knowing you know their secret. He does attack the topic, just in some indirect way. Father Akash, I'm not against my children learning reality through movies and novels, as this way is a safe one of experiencing different types of emotions by proxy through the actors without the stress of component associated with such real life situations. Still, I cannot recommend them to you, as they are as further from the truth as can be. Pleasure is one of the main driving forces behind all actions. Whenever an inexperienced amateur discovers new sources of joy, it becomes extremely easy to lose one's mind and thus become a slave of these momentary pleasures. By no means am I suggesting that you stop all activities that give you pleasure, but that whatever you are enjoying, you're doing in a way that you are always in control, that you stay in the driver's seat and not the source of your enjoyment. Instead, keep in mind, woman is XX, the complete set of chromosomes, which carry the complete genetic information. While all biological books refer to man as a set of XY chromosomes, is somewhat misleading because it appears to the listener that the Y is something that is some alien chromosome, whereas really it's still the same X chromosome, just missing a quarter of the complete leg of the X. Therefore, to avoid all confusion, we should refer them as X and dash 1 slash 2 times. Therefore, it is really the absence of a set of the chromosomes that differentiates a person to become a male or female, which is what makes the man more than a woman in some ways and less in some other. The other male in the room, little Chandrasekhar, who was intently listening, cannot hold his tongue anymore as he feels he has the answer to this age-old mystery, blurts out the answer. I know where the missing leg went. Right here in my pants. Father Akash smiles his charming smile. End topic. Begin topic. The proxy mother. a twin pattern. Children are dancing as they rejoice the start of their summer vacation and their temporary freedom from controlling teachers and the strict demands of hypocritical classrooms and regulations. Since the children had never seen any beach in their lifetime yet, Father Akash makes all arrangements to change that. So, if anyone were to get the award for the best father, he would for making all sacrifices needed to have his children experience the beauty of playing with the monstrous waves of the ocean, hitting the shore, and then going back quietly as if nothing had ever happened before. When the children see the beach for the first time in their lives, their eyes widen, and even if they did not know any swimming, the gigantic frothy waves of the beach tempt them. Dismissing all these statistics on child drowning as something written by the Association of Protective Mothers, who, blinded by their love for their children, change the data to use it as a perfect excuse for keeping their children tied to their breast forever. They outsmart her by running so far away that all her concerned voices cannot kill any of their joy in their flirtations with death anymore. However, like all good things to end, their ride also ends when some woman from the crowd loses all her bearings on seeing a snake and, worried about the children, starts screaming at the top of her lungs, "Snake! Snake! Snake!" Now, if only that overwise mother had been wise enough to keep her mouth shut, nothing real would have happened. The snake itself would have gotten scared on seeing too many people and would have quietly slid away without creating any mischief. But now, due to the woman's panic call, which was meant to save the crowd, became the very cause of all the chaos which ensued. All the people, fearing for their lives, stopped running in different directions. In this do or die situation, when all thought processes go into hibernation, everyone is mindlessly running in any direction to save their lives. But it is only the sister in the whole crowd who first looks back to find where her little brother is. Fortunately, he was not too far from her and was on his all four from falling on the ground. Leaving all panic from time limitations, she runs backward again to pick her little brother, and only once she both are holding hands and she can lead them to safety does she finally rest. Ma is stretching out so far from the window to watch the whole episode that if she were to have fainted, she could have fallen on her own children's head. Seeing this, little son Chandrasekhar says, "How terrible," when the news headlines would say that instead of the snake, it was the mother who was the cause of injury to her own little children. Now both siblings wonder once again, why do mothers have to be so clueless? Now that her children have escaped from death, not once, but twice, Mother Aditi is doubly happy to see the faces of her children alive and kicking. Mother sinks on her knees and thanks the Super Kundalini over 1,000,000 times. Brother Chandrasekhar is feeling the love. So smilingly, he too makes the women of the house happier by fixing the now window's wobbly ledge. After seeing this rare scene of selfless love, Mother Aditi cannot help but exclaim in wonderment, innocence is the hallmark of childhood. Childhood, the mark of purity, as the newborn, is still how the Almighty wanted, still not exposed as much to evil, negative forces ready to destroy one's individuality, to make them like themselves, dead. Then is it not the bond between baby siblings the purest? Then is not the bond between a baby sister with her baby brother the purest? How rightly someone once said that an older sister is like a second mother. When the strength of an elder sister with her younger brother unites, this union has the power of defeating Yamaraj, even the death broker. In spite of the fact that both of you are capable of picking up your own load, and yet, if ever some unfavorable time comes, there is a faith and trust between you both that the other half will always be there to soften the blow and will not let the other fail. Now, I feel confident in saying that whenever God will put them through the ringer of His strictest tests in the future, their bonds of love will pass every test, and from which they will only emerge even stronger. End topic. It is proven fact, now that the whole universe is in constant vibration, then it must mean that all these scriptures preaching us about the virtues of patience, the prerequisite of which is stillness, should be burnt in the same fire for spreading lies, as their statement contradicts themselves when they also say that even the smallest particle with which that we are made of, the atom, is also in vibration. The only supporting statement which can prevent this bonfire of our revered scriptures is this statement that can only come from someone who has the vision of a poet, as they seem to be the chosen one to act as mediums for communication with anything and everything, including about the knowledge of this curse on a watched pot. The curse on a watched pot is that it will never boil. So, to use the secret for multitasking, one should first start a task which will take time, but none to minimal attention, and then instead of watching the pot boiling, you switch to another task. Even in computer science, one of the many memory structures we have is a famous stack structure slash start node, last in, first out, end node, LIFO structure. There is a common misconception that a multitasking machine can do all tasks simultaneously, but the fact is that even the most efficient multitasking computers can only process one task at a time. It is the efficiency with which the computer manages its wait times between switching between tasks is the criteria that acts as one of the main deciding factors for the quality of the output. Even the smartest brains, be it any computer, do only one task at a time. They switch tasks once the current task has reached its goal. Similarly, we too can enjoy multiple flavors in life by switching into new roles as per the current task requirement. We first bury the current task in the memory recesses, a temporary amnesia which is essential for us to do justice to our present without any disturbances from memories which are like ghosts from the past, not letting us enjoy our present to its fullest. This way, one can enjoy the present moment to its fullest in the new avatar. Thus, by playing this shuttlecock between remembering and forgetting, one can enjoy every moment. End topic. Begin topic. A culture breakdown. Curse evil time for destroying all the beauty in patience. Impatient maternal grandma Agya cannot resist anymore from seeing the one daughter out of the three who she secretly loves the most. The secret behind her secret favoritism? In this daughter, she sees the most beautiful expression of herself possible as she reflects all those hidden good qualities in herself, which have now found an expression in this fruit, which has made it the most desirable and beautiful. In her surprise visit, she's feeling happy in expecting to see her lovely daughter Aditi busy in making food for her children after her long day of teaching job, while the possibility of seeing her son-in-law is out of the question, as the office hours are known to consume almost all of the daylight hours. But then, when she sees the real-time scenario, she soon realizes that she will have to do a headstand to see a match to her expectations. Her ideal, beautiful daughter, who was supposed to be in the kitchen cooking, is outside, while her son-in-law, who was supposed to be outside, is inside, in the kitchen cooking. Now she's hoping that her next assumption is also wrong, as not seeing mother at lunch hour in kitchen means that the children will now have to go hungry. And yet the distinct aroma which can only come from healthy Ayurvedic cooking style makes her hold herself from making any more assumptions. And so just straight asks for an explanation behind all her observations as they contradict with everything that she has seen all these long years of her existence in this life form. Now, she's so curious that despite aching knees and little energy from travel, she's running towards the kitchen to get all her answers. Finally, before she loses her mind with assumptions built over assumptions, being sharp minded, it does not take much time to understand that it is her own son in law, Akash, who is cooking the meals for her favorite idol daughter, Aditi, and the children. She stands there speechless for a moment, as she had spent her entire lifetime believing that the day a man starts staying inside to work while the woman starts going outside to work, know that the dark ages have begun. What disturbs her even more is that her own daughter, to whom she had herself dutifully passed on the baton of proven values that can help make a home run in the most efficient way. As she's venting out her frustration, she cannot see this injustice from continuing any more in front of her eyes. So, without any further delay, she lunges forward and then snatches the ladle from son in law Akash's hand to finally put an end to this embarrassment moment. That too in front of her dear son in law. That too, the cause of it all is her very own daughter, who she always saw as her best representative of her own best self, she says in an apologetic voice. I apologize on behalf of my ignorant daughter and will surely scold her for making her man who is worthy of worship to do all her duties like some unpaid slave. My whole life, briefly, is a big sacrifice as a mother who did everything to bring up her daughter as a woman of virtue, only to find in the end that everything I did was for nothing. What disturbs me even more is that my own conduct could never inspire her enough for her to do everything just as I did. Help me understand if the day men and women switch roles, is it not a sign that time made a flip right under our nose without us even knowing how and when it all happened? If this is not some bad omen signaling a serious breakdown of our ancient culture, then what else can be? On hearing her concern, son in law Akash first laughs his laugh, which acts like a calming balm on her. Then, taking the ladle back from his mother in law Agya's hand, begins his address in his soothing voice. If helping one's wife with her chores makes one a slave, then with great pride I say that, yes, I am a slave. But this statement is not complete, as it is dependent on my next clause. But I am a slave to your daughter alone, and nobody else's. Some men who have some doubt over their own masculinity may feel ashamed in doing tasks that are traditionally by a woman. But because I have no such false male chauvinistic attitude in me, I go ahead and deliberately do womanly chores to prove to myself that I'm comfortable with my masculinity, and this attitude has certainly made me a better man. For that matter, to ensure the smooth running of this system, I've taken special permission from my work for shifting my hours from the day shift to the night shift instead. This way, me and my wife are not wasting our energies in doing the same task. Means when I am resting, she is working. When she is resting, I am working. And this is the big secret behind our well-rested and stress-free faces. Regarding your other concern regarding the breakdown of our culture and heritage, then, my fair lady, I agree that your concerns also bother me. But try to look at it this way. One ties a wheel from a bullock cart to a bullet train for running, then it does not take some genius to tell us that such a vehicle is bound to fail. The traditional domestic model is when we see the woman as a cow who stays within the confines of the house to nourish the whole household, while the man, like a horse, a hunter who goes outside to get the resources needed for the smooth running of the household. This model of division of labor has proven to work since ancient times, but due to the powerful Western influences being more powerful, we too need to meet the demand of the changed environment by going with the flow. The problem now with us, middle service level class, is that we could neither become the wealthy West nor the old spiritual East anymore. The current way that we see the world united is based on national boundaries, deception. World is united by their ideologies. When the air, the oceans, the land, and other natural resources are all interconnected, and the changes occurring in one side of the world also affect the other side of the world, then why should the governing bodies and the rules and regulation across the globe be different? I'm not saying to paint the whole world in the same color, as its beauty is in its diversity. The secret of coexistence is not of converting everybody as we, but by respecting the differences in others. On hearing such wise words from her son-in-law's mouth, mother-in-law Agya feels ashamed over the feelings of jealousy come over her. Then, brushing off her absurd emotion, she laughingly compliments him, "Silly me, for envying my own daughter over her good fortune of having a man whose help is comparable to hiring 10 servants combined." End topic. Begin topic. Long longings. Begin poem. O merciful Sun, why do you have to come to end a night like this? Like an enemy, you will snatch my beloved from me. Do not be so cruel. I have only my one moon, the one and the only. Dot, dot, dot. End poem. When father does not come back when expected, mother sits like a mad woman, intoxicated on the wine of the in pain, longing, and anxiety from separation. So now when he comes, he looks twice more handsome, and the anxiety works as a shot of passion in her belly. Now every footstep she hears puts in her feet so much supercharged that without any slippers or even straightening her hair, her run is beautiful, even if her intent is evil, locking him forever and then throwing the key in some deep well, a place from which no one can ever find ... All this show of affection is meaningless to a man coming back from travel with an empty stomach. Knowing that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, she heads towards the kitchen and without further delay makes porridge for him. When mother serves porridge to her children and they put the first spoon in their mouth, they blink their eyes in disbelief. Why? Because every day the porridge that mother cooked was lacking in some way or another. Sometimes the water was too much, or sometimes the salt was too little. In short, never perfect. The children wonder if her real intent was to punish his children, just so they begin complaining to him when on the phone. So then he's sure to leave all work and come running back. This is not at all to say that it is his love for his children that really binds him to her and not just herself. This porridge on this day when he unexpectedly came back, and not just herself. This porridge on this day when he unexpectedly came back had a remarkable taste like never tasted before. The children cannot but exchange mocking glances with each other and remark, "Dear Papa Gunia, you should make mother wait more times, as this way we can get such an amazing tasting porridge every day. But please also keep in mind to not let her wait that long that you knock the wind out of her. And if there is no mommy, there is no porridge either, good or bad. In this worst case scenario, we all lose, as we all are sure to die with hunger then, which will not benefit anyone." Then the children exchange their secret laugh as they say once more to themselves, Why do mothers have to be so silly? Seeing such emotional display of affection, he feels guilty of making her beautiful wife wait like that. So, to make up for it all, he promises her to take her and the children too with him whenever the next trip happens. End topic. Begin topic. The deadliest black widow bite. Wife Aditi to husband Akash. I need an explanation right now, else my mind will explode from not venting it out. All this while, I've been on cloud nine thinking no woman can be luckier than me for getting a man who has the purest heart of all. But now, after hearing this one statement from your mouth, all my faith in men has vanished. I always felt proud of myself for having an educated husband, and so will never react the same as the illiterate man on the street, only to find that when it comes to raw instincts, the behavior of all men is the same. If only I knew this before marriage, I would have run in the streets, warning everybody to never surrender your freedom to any man. Now it is his turn to act innocent and not respond to her indirect form of inquiries. Husband Akash, you keep going on and on, whipping me with your acid tongue without even letting me know the reason behind it. Is this fair in your court of justice, my lord? Why do my ears detect coldness and distance in the voice of my wife that is sweeter than honey? Wife Aditi now takes an about turn so that now her back is facing him, sending a message that the matter is indeed serious. Husband Agash, your voice is always sweet and welcoming, like a nightingale. Please try to welcome me again, but this time wearing your best ornament that God gave you, your intoxicating smile. Wife Aditi, now calmer, turns from showing her back to front. Why did you want to see my nails now and felt disappointed when you noticed that they were not looking manicured? A word is enough for the wise, and he is more than wise. At once understands the matter, but still it is of little use, as the matters which seem serious to a woman seem trivial to a man. He unsuspectingly shows everything about his new widow friend, who he meets at the bus stop to drop the kids, not realizing that every word he's saying from this point further is making him fall into this vixen's trap. Husband Akash, oh, I had meant to tell you about this lady I just met. She's little Siddhartha's mother, whose husband died long ago. It is a duty of all men to ensure that she never feels the absence of her man. She had a fresh manicure yesterday and just wanted me to be part of her happiness by touching and feeling her hand for myself. Now, you're not just my wife, but also my friend. So I feel that it will not mean that I am crossing my limits when I disclose to you this secret, that when I held her dainty hand in mine, it felt very ticklish and soft like plush cushions that tempted me to squeeze them. But I did it just slightly only. Why I did not go to the next level? Because this marriage ring on my finger, which is a constant reminder of my allegiance to you and my love for you, demands sacrifice and denial from me. Now that the cat is out of the bag, all hell breaks loose. She can see dire consequences of this witch's footsteps nearing her house, and then, by using her mind control tricks, will snatch everything from her. First, her husband, then her children, for using them as child labor to sweep her floors. To dismiss this enemy as a nobody will just be more a proof of her complacency than an underestimation of the enemy's strength. And what if he's still hiding from her many more such so-called harmless incidents? This means evil, lustful desires are already secretly working behind the scenes to unite these potential lovers. Dangerous. Nip the evil in the bud, as they say, and this is her duty to do this right away. Once the awareness of the oncoming battle dawns, there is no time for complacency, but only forward march. Attack. Wife Aditi. The very person I choose you as my husband is that I saw all qualities that make a person great. And yet, when I see this contradiction in you, puts me back in doubt over my understanding of you. I can understand how even a man of character can also lose his mind when facing a willing woman. But please enlighten me on how such a man can also forget his allegiance with his children, who are bound by blood and still fall prey to her advances. Husband Akash knows very well that in a verbal duel with a woman, she can easily defeat a man. So he resorts to the only way: say nothing. By not dealing with the toxicity in the situation only worsens by every passing day. The widow is happy, thinking she has a husband by proxy, not content with just enjoying their company outside while dropping off the children at the school bus stop. She thinks of ways of extracting more from this relationship. She comes to leave her son to husband Akash to watch for her child till she can complete some of her own errands. Wife Aditi to the widow. Absolutely not. We are not running a charity here. I warn you, even if I see your shadow 7 houses away, I will have you arrested and put behind bars for stalking my man. Aditi behaves rudely with her on seeing his wife's rude behavior towards someone who he genuinely cares for, he loses all his temper and instinctively raises his hand that lands hard on her face, making a loud sound which sends tremors through the children's heart who were standing close by. So far, they were silent witnesses to this whole drama, but now they step in. In a low and respectful voice, Chandrasekhar says to the widow, "There is no good way to say this, but since only one sword can live in a sword case, you will have to leave." Mayuri too silently sacrifices all her dreams of a budding romance with her son for greater good for all. A word to the wise, and she is more than wise. She vanishes. The end. End topic. Begin topic 1984. Caught in an inferno of a genocide. Begin quote. Dharmo rakshiti rakshita. The protector of protectors itself protects the protector of dharm/ethics. End note. Vedshastra / Vedic literature. End quote. When the wolf comes wearing sheepskin, wins their trust enough to take the role as their protector, then know that the days of the sheep are nearing their end. Same is the condition in the country when the 1984 riots happened. Little Mayuri to her brother Chandrasekhar, caught in this crossfire is also my dear small family. Now, when I read the fear and dread written all over my father's face, my face too starts showing similar expressions, although on different causes. His is over the mob, while mine is over the reaction of my father in handling the mob. My fears find fuel when I see him drawing the only old rusty sword he has had from ages, seeing which I quickly scan for a hiding place, a place that even if he found it out, still could never get to. Now, on seeing him give up his search for his weapon, I give a silent sigh of relief. Now I can see the signs of dread on the face of judgmental people who are wondering what explanation a daughter can give for an action which has put her own father's life in danger. My justification is simple. As from all my observations, all such false drama has no legs and lasts for 3 or 4 days more or less. Once the dust settles, business resume as nothing had ever happened. One will expect the judiciary will punish the criminals and also possibly reward the survivors with some meaningless titles and medals. But instead, what we actually see in this real environment around us that is plagued with materialism is that these paid goons from mafia, when they kill, get paid handsomely and continue to roam free on the streets, while the same act if my father, even if it was being for self-defense and family's defense, even if he's a citizen who pays his taxes, same as the majority, will be framed and sentenced with some cruel punishment, which is worse than death. This incident taught me an important lesson in survival. When we are thrown in the middle of a swamp of corruption, nepotism, groups following dirty crowd manipulation tactics to satiate their never-ending greed for money, to buy these dangerous mind-altering drugs which might help deaden the screams of rescue coming from the tormented soul inside, rebelling against the lifestyle which is a complete opposite of their true self, for becoming a self who they always despised, like that horse who the horse trainer could not domesticate because it would get anxious every time it would see its own shadow, tells an important lesson that wherever hypocrisy is king, it is wise to fight it with the tool of diplomacy, to try to become a rebel with strength that is not yet enough to overthrow the giant. Also, when such an event is fake, like some storm that will blow over in little time, then trying to fight this temporary storm is not bravery, but suicide. It is like destroying one's long-term goals for one's short-term goals. Unlike the wise man, who gets petrified from the knowledge of the enemy fast approaching, the little ones in the family are not. He is blissful because he uses his imagination and not his mind, which has already envisioned his victory by defeating the enemy with their clever karate chops. While Mother Aditi from Khalsa community goes to her Hindu neighbor Mandodari's house to ask her for her help by giving her shelter till these wild winds will calm down. Mother, be kind to my prey, not because of pity or any such silly thing, but because tomorrow, when it is my turn as a prey in front of my predator, I'm the one with the smile. Hindu neighbor Mandodari, my ethics cannot allow me to give shelter to people who belong to a religion which my government is hunting. I will have to live the rest of my life as a traitor who betrayed the orders of the leader of this country, Khalsa Mother Aditi. Enough is enough. Hearing such deluded words from an educated woman like you is making me extremely nervous about the whole future of this great nation. If you ever get the opportunity to see an analysis report of our DNA, start note, deoxyribonucleic acid, end note, you will be surprised to see just the amazingly high extent that all people across the world have interbred. For that matter, the report even shows links to many other species, like with fish, apes, and many other animals for that matter. Since ages, such injustices have been going on by distortion of facts. The agenda pushers are so effective that they can easily make us believe that the tyrant was loving like God while all those who stood up for their rights were troublemakers. Since ages, religion has served as an excellent tool in the hands of the manipulators to use the love of our ancestors as a blindfold, so we never can see the obvious. Hindu neighbor Mandodari, what you're saying is resonating with me, and yet, why am I not able to accept it? Khalsa Mother Aditi, the reason for your inability to grasp this is that you too have fallen prey to the constant brainwashing that has not just started now, but from ages ago. How did this question even arise that we and Hindus are separate when all our gurus were Hindus? If only Guru Gobind Singh Ji, our founder, would have known that this will take us away from our roots, he would never would have done it when his own father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, is a Hindu himself. How can his intent ever be to not live in harmony with the Hindu community? Now, when I'm experiencing this unthinkable moment of shadow, seeing itself as separate than its own body, I can see just how clever and organized the enemy must be. This makes me see the bitter truth that we are all naked, that there is death all around us. By the time any information percolates down to our level, it is too late. When this awareness comes back to me, I hear the words from the scriptures echo loud in me. Dharmo rakshiti rakshita. Start note. The protector of dharma / ethics is the protector of protectors itself. And this brings my smile back. When have you ever seen the average person like you and me taking part in arsenal and looting, especially when we have little time left after dealing with their daily battles of supporting himself and his dear family's needs? The Hindus are quiet now because they think it does not affect them, not realizing that time always reverses. And then when that time happens, know that you will be smiling because the ones who you helped then will help you now. Even if I can see how tax structures are more like contributions towards some corrupt pyramid scheme, still I pay and then take some depression medication to deaden the voices of rebellion in me for doing these things that are against my ethics. Hindu neighbor Mandodari. Subhasham Shikram. Start note. Sanskrit language. Any beneficial task executed at the earliest possible. End note. Now, please make haste and also get your whole family to stay with us till you feel that the outside conditions have now become favorable for you. End topic. Begin topic. Entering the mouth of the fire dragon called / the education system. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Start note. Guru is Brahma. Guru is Vishnu. Guru is Lord Shiva. Guru is verily the supreme reality. Sublime prostrations to him. Second Puran. End note. If someone wanted to learn some art, then the first thing the person looks for is knowledgeable in the field and has his work to back his work. The more the work highlights advanced skills to create that end product, the more genius of the creator comes to the front. Now, knowing the value of quality in products, we too want the best teacher to teach us those skills. So, now that we are ready to pay anything to hire this genius, this teacher / guru, where is he? Fortunately, you do not have to take another debt from synthetic sources to learn, as it is something that you can learn on your own. Where is this guru? And how can it teach me? The guru is in every creation in nature. All you need is an eye that sees how the subject of study runs. So, you do not need the best brain here. Suspend all thinking, as now you become a dumb machine, blindly following the design patterns used by nature. We are just reverse engineering now, since the way the creator of all runs have proven to work timelessly, repeatedly. It must be the right way. It must carry the instructions for us to follow. The reason the teachings of the creator of all creation is not in sync with the education system is mainly because the syllabus is more geared towards enabling us to get better situated in our society. Unfortunately for humankind, one of the most important topics in the world, the education system, is also one of the most misunderstood. How? Because what is really meant for exercising the brain towards critical reasoning and logical thinking is instead dumbing down the child by not encouraging any healthy debates. Result? The system got a disposable dime a dozen employee, and in exchange, the employee got a stable job. However, when they hide from you is that it is stable only till your skills are in demand. Deception. Thus, little is the individual aware of his infinite losses. The irony of the situation is that the very system which killed the genius in the child, that genius who could author a whole new system, feels infinitely indebted to the system for helping in paying for himself and his family needs. A stable job for the individual means parents will never have to stress over their children's going through any tough times. With this thinking, the parent kills himself, never learns anything else, thinking his sacrifice will help his child lead a happy life. Now, when the same child grows up and becomes the parent, he too goes through this same circle of fear and false sense of sacrifice. This cycle keeps repeating from one to the next without any break. As a result, individualism loses to these fake agenda pushers towards lies. That is why, because of a bad system, teaching, which should have been the most revered job, is so only when the teacher sleeps through the lecture, as all they bring with them is nuisance value. So please do what you do best: sleep. End topic. Begin topic. When I shed my old skin of baby Mayuri to transform into my new skin of Grandma Baby Mayuri. Begin quote. The water element in us reminds us that wherever we go, we surrender ourselves to assimilate with the essence of the environment. End quote. The scene is of a parent-teacher meeting in Father Akash's child Mayuri school. The model that will ensure that the rich will become richer while the poor become poorer. An immaculately dressed young junior teacher with her enormous eyes is standing on the stage, addressing all proud parents of their now well-cultured children, encouraging them to have an open and honest discussion on all and every issue that their children are facing now. Her encouraging, eloquent, and fiery words make Father Akash forget his own main principle in life, which had always helped him stay peaceful when dealing with all kinds of people, which says, always stay neutral with people. People are not my enemy, and I am not people's friend either. As she's speaking, her words are hitting the right spot in little Mayuri's Father Akash. So, Father Akash by now is itching in his seat, restless, till he has voiced his voice against the injustices that his daughter, who he loves more than himself, subjected to by the teacher referred to as Mrs. Fox. Back in time, when his daughter had told him about the unjust incident, he had controlled his anger just so that the flames of his anger do not engulf his daughter also. He had dismissed it then as some accidental one-time occurrence and had promised himself to pursue the matter if it ever happens again. Now, when this junior teacher as if some expert in face reading detects some concern on Father Akash's face. She at once pounces on this one-time opportunity for her road to stardom. She encourages him to share his concern with the whole assembly. A concern for one might be a concern for all, too. The same speech, when delivered by a man to a man, it does not make as much of an impression, while when delivered by the opposite gender, the ROI, return on investment, skyrockets. Then it is easier for the wall of male pride to fall and have him fall on her neck in gratitude for the great deed of opening his eyes. Even if brute prudence says spilling guts to the priest in a confessional does not solve any problems, digs a grave for oneself. Still, Father Akash cannot hold himself any longer and blurts out all the gory details of the secret event simmering in him out in front of this amateur priest. Listen to this injustice that has still not found rest, just like an arrow still stuck in my heart. After hearing your words of encouragement, you are the right person who can finally help pull this arrow out so I can then sleep peacefully. The incident is as follows. The class teacher, Mrs. Fox, of my daughter, little Mayuri, as punishment for a crime that could have been easily ignored, forgetting her notebook in the playground that had her homework in. She first unbraided her long hair, yanking her hair in the process, causing physical and emotional stress, teaching her to suffer injustice, which damages the soul. She did not just stop at that. Mayuri is a loser, Mayuri is a monkey, Mayuri is a fool. Repeatedly, a punishment that does not match the crime. I fear that such toxicity will never let her survive in this environment. Please take the strictest action against her before things get out of hand. Hearing just the words that the junior teacher is looking for, her eyes sparkle. What a great opportunity for getting her to get her name splashed all over the media. If she can play this incident right, she could see her name written in golden words in the history of humankind for saving a little girl from the clutches of a witch. So, without losing another moment, with her head held high like some warrior, heads as fast as she can towards the headmistress' office to make an even bigger fuss. Once the headmistress has her story straight, she at once sends the peon to get the teacher involved, Mrs. Fox, the great villain of all times, to her office room. Principal looking angry. You witch! Do you have a stone in place of your heart? Has your soul long died, leaving behind a body that is now only spreading foul smell for little children to inhale, and thus die a slow death from your corpse? An absurd action can only find its justification in an equally absurd cause. Mrs. Fox is very aware of all the mental ailments she suffers from. After all, it is all God's fault for giving her a body that can never let her live her life to its maximum potential. Secretly, she hates God for giving her such an ugly body that can never let her fulfill her real desire of becoming the top actor in the film industry. All her pent-up hatred towards God's injustice towards her, she let it escape over ruining the future of these little children, whose mannerisms are close to how God must look and act. After all, if not for God's evil manipulations, she would be enjoying a future that she rightfully deserves. Every time that she opens her drawer, the sight of all kinds of medications that she's taking for her various illnesses mock her, laugh at her, putting her once again in doubt over God's love for her and His creation. She wonders if it is her wrong choices that led to her poor state today, or is it that God is some merciless tyrant waiting to crack his whip on anyone who tries to destroy him even slightly. All these negative thoughts and hatred in her wants her to hurt God's most beautiful creation, children. Every time she looks at this little girl Mayuri's confidence in herself, hears her carefree laughter that knows no fear of people's reaction, reminds her of her own laughter that she had lost long ago. Unless the jealousy in her consumes her victim, it will instead keep consuming her only. So, for satisfying this fire of revenge, she had secretly begun playing and experimenting on this child's mind to show the child how much more superior she is to her. And since she cannot do so by increasing her own skill set, she instead widens the contrast by lowering the child's abilities. Now, to save her own neck, she produces some new form of absurd lies that will justify her absurd behavior. Mrs. Fox: "You fool! It is not me who's foolish, but the people like you with your scholar ideologies who are. For all you secular fools give us non-believers that all creations are the same because they have been created by the same God, while people like me with progressive scientific views know better. The truth is that there is no God, and we are the creators of our own life. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma, the Lord of creation." Religion is a great concept, not for finding truth, but for finding our lineages. This way, we can make rules that will ensure that all our future generations become rulers, while the rest are slaves. Using our advanced knowledge of human psychology, we can use those tricks to our advantage. We can use these time-tested results from well-documented experiments on children in techniques that can dumb down any child while raise another who bring out the best in our lineages. Now, let me tell you a well-kept secret found by research conducted by NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, an independent agency of the U.S. federal government, America, that 98% of the children fall in the genius category. What that means for us is that there is a chance that our generation loses the number one spot. Thus, it will not just mean that our future generations will have to go through the mental trauma of tasting defeat, but also is our duty to increase the contrast between us and them by creating conditions that can only lead these unfortunate ones towards darkness without them even suspecting the evil plot behind their current pitiable states. While we will just put our feet up and eat cake all day. The goal of religion is to become a majority so we can sway the votes banks, which can then pass laws that will help trample over the rights of the minorities. Principal, your talk is like some queen of hypocrisy, yet I, who you accuse of being an ignorant one, will give you an important lesson. You think you are doing your future generations a favor by protecting them from wilderness, but now think about by putting on glasses that can help you see into the future when different possibilities take shape. If our generation were to become number one, not because of their skills but trickery, then can you not see all the harm it'll do to our future generations? Lack of challenges in their life will make them lazy. Once they become lazy, their willingness to work for themselves, to take care of their and their family's needs will go down. When that happens, the whole family members' minds get corrupted. Once that happens, the whole society will get infected by the epidemic of greed. When this happens, know that the end of life is near. Remember that both of us are friends because we share the same end results. But my way of getting there is different than yours, Mrs. Fox. Quit arguing, you secular fool. Now listen to my way, which will certainly ensure our victory. All we need to do is to use the strength of our numbers to drown the voices of any minority, whether funny or not. We all laugh together over cruel jokes that we will make over their culture and heritage, their appearances, things that they take pride in, everything that is truly their asset. This way, soon enough, they will start doubting themselves and their own ancestral beliefs. Now they will start to secretly curse God for having them to take birth in a misfit family, and now their only desire would be to either become like the majority or die. If we do not take any action right now, very soon the minority will become a majority. We must be especially careful with this minority group, the Khalsa religion. They have the blood of great saints who proved their survival abilities by transforming themselves into soldiers when the need of the environment was to fight to defend their freedom against these tyrant forces of radical Islam Mughals. If it were not for their sacrifices, the whole world would have gotten painted with the same color of one same religion. So, if once they know of all that they are capable of, they can easily overtake us. They will take all our positions in this industry, while our little prince and little princess will be sitting in the sidelines, twiddling their thumbs, without any of the cakes of which they are so fond of. All this talk of bitter truth is making my heart palpitation so fast that now I need to rest. So please leave now and let me strategize some more over my action plan. The headmistress does not like the cruelty in her approach, and yet, because they share the same goals, even if against her ethics, gives her her implicit consent by not vocalizing any word of dissent. Once the witch gets the headmistress' implicit approval, she clasps her hands. First runs left, then right, not knowing how to celebrate her recent victory. Without wasting another moment, the witch's evil mind starts producing new ideas of torture right away. Now, every day, the sole source of entertainment in her boring life is to invent new ways to torture the little girl, just enough to not cause any rebellion for the fellow students. Like in a story of the king whose life lived in a parrot by proxy by the evil sorcerer, every time that she wanted to hurt the king, she would torture the parrot. Similarly, Mrs. Fox, too, starts giving pain and discomfort to the daughter to hurt the father. So, by proxy, she gets her revenge from the father. However, unfortunately for her and fortunately for the child in her family, the daughter can understand the real reason behind the teacher's evil intentions. So now, what does she do? Being smart, she reasons. Since it is only the knowledge of the pain to the daughter that can be the cause of pain to the father, she will just not relay further any stories of her tortures back home. Simple. With this revelation, she begins to do what a child does beautifully. Forget. She reasons. The witch can only torture me till I am in this domain of school, where she has power over me. However, once out of school, I'm under the power of my caring family. So let this witch teacher enjoy her deceptive small victory over me, while I enjoy my real victory of coming out of the fires of her tortures unscathed. No evil witch can now ever have any evil effect on the happiness of my family. With this thought, the little girl smiles as she says the new lesson of life that she just learned. Day's baggage ends with the day. Nature, too, has its own way of serving justice. As someone who rightly said that his stick's sound is not heard but felt. Due to the witch teacher's primary occupation of stressing over her new plans to destroy a child, her own psyche begins to attack herself. No surprise when Mayuri learns about the witch's high blood pressure and anxiety attack, due to which she had to stay in the hospital for over a month. And then, when the cat's away, the mice will play. For all we know, it turned out to be the best time of the little girl's school life. As the days progress, the little girl's nature matures from a complete chatterbox at home to completely silent in school. The girl whose rank would be amongst top 10 now slides down to bottom 10 from a total of 50 students. This serves as a blessing in disguise, as the illusion of their victory has made them complacent enough that she can now breathe enough to survive these troubled times. She laughs and says to herself, I have been desiring attention and recognition from these privileged people, thinking that they are superior to me, but now I can see that they are plain arrogant. How are they any superior to me when the only difference between us is that the families in which they had birth was some rich, privileged family, while mine in a middle class minority? For that matter, how is their families even superior to mine when these families are rich due to their ancestral wealth or corrupt practices, while mine is still being able to send their children in a good school despite losing all their ancestral wealth during all the looting during the India-Pakistan partition of 1947. All this revival of our family is based on the power of their brain and hard work. So, even if God gave me a choice to choose our family, my choice will still favor a minority middle class family, as I be a minority with no pride than a majority privileged class that is just arrogant and hollow from the inside. Now, with her new initiated eyes, she further edifies. The teacher's evil motive is to make my life a living hell, so much so that I complained to my parents. Then, once I complain to my parents will get angry and hurt. When they get angry, they can take some rash decision of pulling me out of the school and put me in some other school. Since this school is the only one which offers swimming, it will be a big loss for me and a win of the witch's evil motive. Come to think of it, that old hag has nothing to lose in ruining my life, as her career has already peaked and the only path for that witch is downhill. While, on the other hand, I am still a small child. For me, these are my foundation years, and as my father always says, the basic principle of architecture states that if the foundation is not strong, the building can never come out strong. Ethics may say I'm a coward, an escapist for running away from my problems, but I say that instead it is your understanding that is wrong. As now, with my now new aware eyes, I can see how brave and mature I just became by staying in the battlefield and facing the problems, by learning to adapt and adjusting to alien environments. I feel smarter than before. After all, why bother with expensive suicidal kamikaze attempts when the same issues can be resolved by becoming a nothing? Shunya? Zero? Little Mayuri to her mother Aditi. Whenever the question arises of exploring the cause behind our choices, we like to believe our choices reflect our true self. However, this statement is extremely easy to say, but for anyone to try to lead such a life is the hardest and most elusive, as the level of self discipline needed to lead such a disciplined life is one of the most challenging, to say the least. All of us are slaves to our basic survival needs at the minimum. A child's eyes are curious, inquisitive, over discovering new things, learning without any preconceived notions, meaning it is an excellent opportunity for adults to see how an untrained, unbiased eye would see. Instead, what these wise adults do, they not just kill their opportunity to gain experience about how we became what we became today, but instead we punish them for their original thoughts, and even worse, also pass our faulty beliefs over to them, fearing that if they did not stop, then their own children might become the torch bearer of another bloody revolution. This is risking their lives, and since the value of a child life is dearer to the adult parent than the child, the parent becomes an excellent instrument in destroying the child's individuality and perpetuating obsolete beliefs and lies. When the basis of a belief system becomes fear and not some healthy set of proven tautologies, it can never produce any healthy lions, but instead can create mostly pale and coward individuals only. Our religion has astonishingly great real life heroes who never hesitated in sacrificing their lives for protecting their freedom of living a lifestyle that is true to their belief system. But now the environment has changed, and our religion has drifted too far from its essence, freedom, the very reason for which it was born. Now, all the emphasis has shifted to mere outward physical appearances. And this must be one of our religion's biggest follies. Mother Aditi saying laughingly, "My little girl, your chronicle age is 9, and yet you talk like a woman who is 90. So, from now, just like Baba Buddhaji from Khalsa history, who too in his early years showed a wisdom that was beyond his years, was honored by this title, we too will follow from now on, call you amongst your many other names as Grandma Baby Mayuri. जय बाबा बुड्ढा जी की, जय हमारी बेटी ग्रैंडमा बेबी मयूरी की in Hindi. Note, we salute Baba Buddha ji. We salute our daughter Grandma Baby Mayuri. Mayuri smiles. Mother Aditi too smiles, but not over the same reason, as for the mother, the cause is over the simplicity that is the most precious ornament for a child. End topic.